Hello and welcome to Expert Velocity. My name is Simon K. Williams. I'm going to give you a little guide into e-learning. I'm going to call this the eLearning 101 course. So let's do a little stat attack of the e-tech industry. An incredible 77% of US companies are already using e-learning technology. Now, one of the reasons they're doing that is just such a easily to distribute that information, and it's not just about giving information, it's about ensuring that the person receives it, because we can actually test them and we can confirm that they've received it, absorbed it and understood it, and can replicate that information in their jobs and other disciplines. Now, it's often thought of as a very new industry. That's simply not the case. Computer-based learning has actually been around since 1960. So it's long been recognized as a viable distribution tool, but it's really in recent years that it's got anywhere close to achieving its potential. And that's largely down to other assisting technology, things like the internet. It's been, of course, a huge benefit. Things like 4G, again, a huge benefit. And personally, I believe that 5G, as that gets rolled out globally, will be another deciding factor in the history of the e-tech industry and give it another surge forward. YouTube actually tells us that their how-to videos are growing at a staggering 70% year on year, which is a really phenomenal rate of growth. And as such, the whole industry is expected to achieve a $325 billion industry by 2025. And I should also point out that these stats I'm giving to you now are from before the coronavirus hit. And that has had a huge positive impact for the industry, and that's grown significantly just over the last few weeks. As you might expect, because of the coronavirus, hundreds of millions of people around the world have effectively been forced online to do a lot of their education. So perhaps it's no surprise that the industry has seen a significant growth. So on the slide here, I've just highlighted 3 different companies. We've got New Oriental, GSK Tech, and TEL Education. All of these are e-tech businesses. And what you can see is they have each seen massive growth in just the last few weeks. And no doubt by the time you see this video, the stats will be slightly different, but they are accurate at the time I record this, which is in mid-April. So New Oriental has increased its valuation by an additional $190 million US. GSK an additional 1.3 billion in evaluation, and TEL Education an additional 1.7 billion added to its evaluation. So, big figures here. So I want to give you a quote, and I'm going to ask you which of these 3 very well-known people actually said this statement. They actually said that personalized learning doesn't just let students work at their own pace, it puts them in charge of their own academic growth. So your choices are Bill Gates on the left-hand side, Donald Trump in the middle, and UK's Boris Johnson. Whilst you're considering that, I just want to tell you a little bit more about personalized learning. So the basic concept behind personalized learning is kind of the opposite of the live or the typical traditional live school environment. In that environment, it's assumed that every student will learn at the same rate. And of course, in reality, we know that's just not the case. With personalized learning, a student can quickly move past the subject if they understand it, but spend longer on the elements that they don't understand, rather than assume that everyone's going to get every piece of information, understand it, comprehend it at exactly the same rate. And because of that, we are using the time much more efficiently, and students see a significant growth in performance. So who do you think said that statement? I'm actually going to give you one more quote as well. The same person also said America's high schools are obsolete. It was, in fact, Bill Gates. And he went on to invest $1.7 billion in eLearning back in 2017. In data analysed from 62 schools which were actually practicing personalised learning, they found that students made much more progress in the 2 years than their peers did at other schools. So there's a lot of data to prove the benefit of personalised learning. And of course, online is a very easy and good way to deliver personalised learning. So I've got a question for you. In broad terms, there are actually two types of study: synchronous and asynchronous. But do you know the difference? So yes, synchronous is basically all students studying at the same time. So a classic classroom environment with a teacher standing in front of the classroom is a synchronous way of delivering information, a way of delivering study or education. Asynchronous is where they are not necessarily learning at the same time, perhaps via an online training tool, video course, or something like that, where a student will decide largely themselves when they log in, when they log out, when they perform certain tasks and actions. Now, Expert Velocity has been built on a certain type of technology which is very modular. That means we can actually plug in, quite literally, the functionality that you need, but no more. We call these plugins. Now, there's many plugins available, and I want you to have a guess how many plugins are there. As I record this, there are actually over 1,600 plugins available, over 1,600 plugins available. So that gives you a small idea of just the vast quantity of functionality and services that are available. So I have another question for you. Based on this little course that you've seen so far, how many of those plugins have you actually experienced? Have a guess. Actually, it's just one. Only one plugin has been used to deliver the functionality that you've experienced during this short course. So clearly there's an awful lot more to see and experience, and really the only thing that limits the functionality available to you is your imagination. So, the world is your oyster. So that concludes my little introductory program for you. Obviously, we're only scratching the surface here, so please do seek more information if this is of something that is of interest to you. And by all means, reach out to us at expert-velocity.com. Be very happy to speak with you more, and perhaps together we can do something really special. That's it for me. Over and out. All the best for now.